All right. What's up, guys? Good morning. Good morning. Okay, so let's take a look and see what we're looking at on the daily here. So we have officially balanced this daily fair value gap right here. And actually, if you note the high of the daily gap, we have not, if I'm not mistaken, we have not closed above it. So the close on this candle was 21,951, and the high of this daily candle was 21,951. So technically, guys, we have not closed above the daily, and this is a potential spot of rejection. Now, I will note this on the hourly, we have already swept that set of perfect equal lows. So this is definitely a spot where we could go higher here. I am looking at this internal high right here, and that's pretty much it right now. Let me look at the 15 and the 5 and see if there was anything A plus. I want to see, there might have been an SMT here and another set of equal lows, by the way. It looks like. Oh, not quite. Did ES hit its low? Let me check the 5-minute real quick. No, there was no SMT with ES. Very interesting. And yet we're still pumping here. I think we have legs to go higher, probably up to, if I had to guess, if we go to the hourly chart, probably up to the body of this candle. So I'm going to mark these two levels on my chart here because I think this is where the draw is right now. But we'll have to see. I don't know if there's even any news today. Let me check. We already had PPI and unemployment claims, and that's pretty much it. So I'd need to see some kind of a fair value gap setup to target these things. This price action is kind of odd right now. We're looking at what looks like a buy program, or a small buy program, at least up to these high levels. That's my thinking right now. The 4-hour chart. Yeah, we just felt this gap on the 4-hour, and we have this gap here on the 4-hour that needs to be filled most likely. So I will label all these levels. Anyone take any trades this morning already? Also, guys, make sure you like the stream if you're in here. It really helps the algorithms. But I don't see anything A plus right now to the downside. Look at the 15-minute chart quick. Yeah, so we've obviously swept major sell side here, and we're getting a big reaction. I want to see us trade up, ideally again into this 4-hour gap and some of these highs here. And then from there, maybe we can get a rejection. By the way, apologies for all the stuff on the screen. I know that it's a little bit ugly, but a lot of the stuff you're going to need on your charts, guys, if you want to be successful. New week opening gaps, weekly fair value gaps, liquidity. But yeah, right now I'm looking at this internal high as the first draw. And if we can sweep some liquidity to the downside and then get an inversion, then that's going to be good. But right now this price action is not optimal. We have midnight opening price down here. So keep in mind we could draw down to midnight and then get a long setup. But right now we're obviously just chopping around, consolidating. Nothing here is moving, but I would like to see this high get swept, and then we want to see this daily fair value gap get filled. Or 4 hours, sorry. That's where the draw is right now. And there's no more news left today, so this again is just where I want to see. 1 minute price action is not really important, but this fair value gap is important. So that's why I want that to fill. All right, let's see if we can maybe get some kind of a setup here. If we can sweep some liquidity, trade into this bullish 1 minute, and then get a move higher, then that would be something I'd like to see as well. So right now I'm paying attention to a potential fair value gap forming here. Oh, I didn't even let the Discord know I was live. Shoot. All right, so potential fair value gap forming here. Let's see how the rest of the 1 minute candle closes. And then from there, we'll look for a long setup up to that 4 hour fair value gap. All right, so this is the fair value gap now, guys. So if we can close above this, this is the long setup. And I'm going to target this as my first set of internal high here. And I'm going to target this as my second TP. And then if you guys want to target a third TP, it's going to be up here. But again, the reason being, we swept major sell side. We technically had a turtle soup here. Again, this inversion happened early in the morning. Nothing I would have taken, but if you guys were trading the CPI news or the PPI news, I'm sorry, then this could have been a setup, but not optimal. Also, I will mark this. It is a data low now. So if I mark this candle, we'll call it a data low. So that is super important. And could be a draw either today or later in the week, maybe next week, but it still could be an easily could be a draw. Okay, no close below this 1 minute gap. Let's see if ES has hit its 4 hour fair value gap here. ES has not even come close. It's a lot weaker than NQ. It hasn't even fully filled its gap here on the 4 hour. On the hourly, it's hit its high. Neither of them have hit this internal high that formed on the 11th. Yeah, so there's not really an SMT here either. This high formed on the 12th of June. Yeah, there's no SMT. Nothing here that I'm loving, I'll be honest. But if we can deliver out of this bullish gap and we can inverse this fair value gap, then I am going to try this as a long setup to this internal high. And again, the thesis here is that we're going to be balancing that 4 hour fair value gap that we have above. So that is the whole point behind it. So let's see if we can get it. Now we just have to wait patiently pretty much. But if we inverse this to the downside, I mean, we could try a short and target this 930 low. So this is the 930 open. And then we could use our second target as that data low, which happened from 830. But so far, I think this is probably going to go up and inverse this, and then we'll target this high. That's my thinking right now. All right, let's see what we get. Okay, so no close above yet, but if we do close above, this is going to be a long setup, in my view. We've got just under a minute till the candle close. Whoops. So again, I like this because we're delivering from a bullish gap and we have a 1 minute inversion. If we can close above it, then your stop to break even comes at this high, and then you target the high of day, and then obviously that 4 hour gap above us. This is what I'm looking as the draw. Why would we go up here after sweeping liquidity? Most likely to rebalance this. However, we did rebalance this gap already. Keep that in mind. So it doesn't have to happen, but it still probably will. And again, only if we inverse the 1 minute will that be the entry for the long setup. And again, I don't know who's in here from YouTube and who's from X, but I'm going to post, hold on 1 second. I'm going to post a link to all my socials so you guys can follow me on X and Insta. Huh, it's not working, I don't think. Send. Weird. Okay, so we're ejecting from the 1 minute, no close above. Now we have a closure below this fair value gap. So technically, guys, this is a short. I'm not going to be entering this, but this is your stop to break even, and then this is your final TP, the 930 open. I think we're still drawing higher here, and this is manipulation, but if you're looking for a short, that is the short. We close below on the 2 minute, and there's no 3 minute or 5 minute. So this is technically a short, but I'm not going to be entering it. There was no major liquidity sweep, not enough to my liking, so I want to see this go up again, target this, and then get a short later. That's my thought process right now. Okay, so obviously this inversion is not working to the downside. Now I think this is going to pump up above this inversion and go higher here. I have to post everything separately. For some reason, it's not allowing me to post all my socials at once because there's too many character counts. So that's my WAP. Then this is Twitter and Instagram. Whoops, Command Z. All right. Okay, so again, no closure above, guys. The whole point of this model is that you don't enter a trade until you get a body closure above the inversion. So right now, there's nothing for me to enter. There's no model here. The only way I can enter this is if we close above. And the higher it closes above, the worse the RR, but it's still a good trade in my opinion. Oh, damn, there was apparently a Boeing crash. Let's see how Boeing's doing real quick. Boeing down 4% on the news. Very interesting, guys. Right after we took profits in this fair value gap. This was a trade that I held for over 7 months, guys. This is a swing trade that I took, targeting this monthly fair value gap, and immediately after we get a crash. It's crazy. We fill it and it goes down. I still think Boeing has legs up to the 230s, but we are completely out of the position. How's everything else performing today so far? Nike down. VIX is up. Lockheed Martin is up. Interesting. Coin is up. All right. Okay, so this is where I think the inversion happens, guys, if it's going to happen. Wow, big pump there. Wow. Okay, there is that fair value gap that I was talking about. Unfortunately, they did not give a setup. They just delivered it up without any... There was zero ability to get this in, like to get an entry here. We'd have to see a close here, and they just ripped the market up without giving us an entry. So it is what it is, but this market is definitely tougher than usual. I will say that. And I still think this has legs higher. Like this internal high right here, definitely a draw on liquidity. So your first TP would be here, but again, there was no entry. So I can't enter this now, not after we touched into the 4 hour. But technically that was still the long setup. So even though I can tell you guys where the market's likely to go and why this inversion's probably going to fail, the issue is there was no entry. So you have to be willing to accept that sometimes you're going to know where the market goes, but you're not going to be able to click the button. And I know that's hard for a lot of people, but It is what it is. Okay, now this high should be hit next, and then from there, I don't know what's going to happen, to be honest. But I think that that is going to be the draw for the day. And unless we get a setup up to it, there's nothing I can take. And now that this 4 hour has been filled somewhat, it hasn't been fully filled, but it's been tapped into, this becomes a less likely setup, lower probability. But do you guys see how we delivered from a bullish gap? We inversed a fair value gap and we went higher. Now, it sucks that this already swept the high of day, but this should still deliver us higher up here. Should we try a scalp here, 1 for 1? No, I'm not going to, but nonetheless, it's probably still going to hit this high now, guys. So again, what is this black line? It's this hourly buy side. There is no entry to take it, but this should still go up to the hourly buy side here. If you want to try along trading into this bullish 1 minute gap, if we trade into it, you can try entering like this. But again, this is just not good price action to be trading. Even though I think this is going higher, guys, I'm going to be disciplined and not click the button, but this high should hit now. Wow, there's 13 people watching on X and only 2 people on YouTube. That's from what I'm seeing right now. But I'm looking for this to push, again, above that hourly buy side, and then a little bit higher towards the body of this candle, ideally. That's my thinking right now. So almost filled, we've almost fully filled that 4 hour gap, but I wanted to go higher than that. So watch how we react at the top of this 4 hour, even though it's probably going to go higher, just watch it. Okay, so it's slight rejection there, but I still want this high to hit right here. Okay, there's the high and maybe a little bit higher, and then from there maybe a rejection. We'll see. All right, so that's pretty much my target for the day. Unfortunately, guys, there was no setup there, but that is where I thought the market would draw. Now, if we can get some kind of a reversal from here, I'll consider shorts. So if this inverses to the downside, I think that will be a pretty decent short. And we could target that 930 candle low, but I still think this is probably going to go higher realistically if I had to guess. We're in this daily fair value gap, and I think what's probably going to happen is we're going to close above it and then maybe go higher from there. But yeah, that was pretty much my draw, and now you can see we're pushing higher than that. So yeah, if we can somehow inverse this, guys, I think this will be a good short. But do you guys, for those of you who are not bots, who are in here, do you see how when we close below this, I did not like this inversion? Why did I not like this inversion? Does anyone know? If you're a human being in the chat and you're not a bot, let me know. For those 15 people or 20, I don't know how many, 20 people on X and 3 people on YouTube, why was this inversion bad? Let's see if anybody knows the answer. If you were bearish on the market today, targeting this low, why was this inversion set up bad on the 1 minute and the 2 minute? We closed below it, right? The body of the candle closed below the inversion. Why was this bad? And if you don't believe that I didn't like it, go back in the stream and see. I said I don't like this inversion to the downside, and I explained why immediately afterwards. Anyone know? Any non-NPCs out there that are willing to talk in the chat? I'm waiting. It's really important to know, so. And by the way, thanks for liking the stream, whoever's in here, but this is a super important lesson here. Why was this inversion to the downside bad? Nobody, huh? There's almost 20 people that are watching this on different platforms, so somebody's got to have an answer. Come on, y'all. All right, well, the reason that it was not a good fair value gap to the downside is because we had a major 4-hour gap right above us. This is a major fair value gap. So there's no reason you should be shorting right before we touch into it. That's obviously not a good idea. And then, unfortunately, there was no entry to the upside. I mean, you could have entered here to target this, but the RR was terrible. I did take this with a micro on a funded, but that's it. I did not take this on a cash account. And yeah, now that this is swept, I mean, this could easily reject back down into this inversion. But if this inversion closes below, now that we've closed above or filled the 4-hour and we've swept the hourly buy side, now we could look for a short. But I don't know if it's going to give us a short. We have another 15-minute fair value gap right above here, so don't be surprised if we tap into this now. Maybe even tap into that one standard deviation of the Asia range. That's also a draw on liquidity. So right now I'm still not bearish, guys. There's nothing here telling me bearishness. All that I'm seeing here is the 4-hour liquidity sweep. We had major sell side here that got taken out in the London session. If you go to the hourly chart, you can see this is the London session. We had this low right here. I believe we had perfect equal lows right here as well. We swept them, swept all this, traded into a bullish fair value gap, and we obviously are delivering higher now. So the draw is going to be PD arrays above us, and also the Fibonacci or standard deviation, whichever you prefer. But this 15-minute gap, this one standard deviation, and this hourly buy side were all targets today. We still have the potential to go higher here, but again, there's no inversion for me to take. So I am very selective on the trades I take. Even if I think if I know the bias, it doesn't give you the excuse to just enter randomly. If you do that over time, you will not be profitable, I promise you. How is Tesla doing today? Okay, so I'm going to go over some, because I'm not really fond of the price action right now, I'm going to go over some of the stocks that I'm looking at. I normally keep this to the community, but I'll tell you guys what I'm looking at. One stock that I'm looking to add in this zone is UNH. I wasn't looking to add it, but now I've decided that I think it's good enough to take. We're in this yearly fair value gap. This is a huge PD array, and obviously we wick below it, but every time we get these massive drawdowns on the yearly, we end up recovering very nicely. There's a ton, like hundreds of millions of dollars of dark pool orders that are being filled in this fair value gap, which tells me we're likely to go up here. The CEO bought like 225 million worth of shares. And yeah, I just think this is all accumulation. I want to look at the volume real quick. Volume was massive here, but it was a massive candle. This is an anomaly. Do you guys see how there's a doji candle on UNH? So this is a potential anomaly here because it's such a small candle with massive volume. We haven't had this type of volume on UNH since pretty much ever. The last time we had this type of volume on UNH, even the secondary day, was all the way back in 98. So this could either be a huge anomaly, meaning that UNH is going to collapse, or it's going to go up to the upside, which is probably the more likely scenario here, especially with the CEO buying. So I will alert the community when I do add that. Tesla, another one that I'm looking at. I mean, we've added this already, and I've been selling puts on this, but our main ads for Tesla were between 180 and 220. So we are obviously banking. The whole Trump situation here has fully filled. We did fill this gap, but I want to see the daily chart on Tesla close above 331. Until that happens, I'm not 100% convinced of a bullish continuation because this gap has just been filled. I want to see it close above. Then I'm looking to target that 373 level. There are basically sets of relative equal highs here on Tesla. This is like also known in retail as a double top, right? When we have two highs like this. And if you look at the monthly chart, we do have a fair value gap here on the monthly that has not fully filled. We came close. We came up to 367, but we still have up until 373. So I think at minimum that's going to come for Tesla, just a matter of when. And then another one, this is a little bit higher risk, but nonetheless still a really good trade, is Nike. You can see here on the monthly chart, we have a fair value gap here that needs to be filled. We came close to it, but not quite. We had China news yesterday with Trump, but once the China deal is settled, I think we're going to have a very big move on Nike. My final draw, this is very similar to our Boeing trade from earlier last year, is this target right here. There's a weekly fair value gap on Nike at the 109, basically 110 level that needs to be filled. There's all this buy side liquidity, and I think that this is going to be the final draw. This is where I'm going to take all of my profits. I will take some profits along the way, maybe 10, 20, 30%, and I'll hold all the rest up to this weekly fair value gap. Okay, how is Tesla, or how is NQ doing here? All right, so NQ came super close to its 15-minute gap, and it should touch into it. It's just a matter of when. Again, there's no setup here, but if you guys want to try like little scalps up to the 15-minute, you can. But again, not ideal. Not ideal PA for sure. But again, the reason, guys, that I did not take this inversion to the downside, that probably a lot of ICT traders did when we closed below this 1 minute fair value gap, was because I wanted this 4 hour to get hit. It did, and that's it. So where we could draw from here, pretty much my main targets now are this 15-minute fair value gap and this 1 standard deviation. But again, until we get a setup, there's nothing I'm going to be taking here. But for those of you guys who want to try scalps, this is a pretty strong draw on liquidity. And then the 1 standard deviation, I'll actually mark it here so we have it with a horizontal line. Demagnify here at 21,943.75. So if we somehow get an inversion here, awesome. If this 1 minute closes below as well, guys, this is another trade setup. But I think what's happening here is we're going to consolidate, push up into this, and then I don't know what's going to happen from there, but why is this only showing 1 candle? There's a glitch on my, oh, hold on. Oh no. I'm not sure. Has anybody taken a trade today? Because I'll tell you guys, I have not. Not on a cash account. I took 1 micro on a funded to target this hourly after this 1 minute inversion, because I know when this is something that I guess I can teach you guys. So when you have an obvious 1 minute inversion like we had earlier today, sorry guys, I have family at my house. When you get a 1 minute inversion like this and we close above the high of day, very likely we're going to continue higher, especially if we have a PD area above. So in this case, we had this hourly buy side and the 15-minute and the 1 standard deviation. So yeah, but I think this is going to go higher here, targeting. Can you guys hear the dogs? Okay, so again, 1 for 1 scalps if you want to this 15-minute gap, which we never hit, but nothing here is A+ enough for me to take. Yo, Edgardo, what's up? Good morning, bro. Yeah, you can hear the dogs. Sorry about that, guys. Whoa. Should I do green? Purple? You took a trade, Edgardo, today? Oh my God, there's a video on X right now of this the Boeing crash, and there's like a person's head on the road. Excuse me. That is crazy, bro. Whoa, and the dude sitting in 11A survived, and he's walking. Crazy. All right. So again, nothing here, guys. Consolidation. Again, the draw is likely higher. There's a 15-minute gap here if you guys want to try like a 1-for-1 scalp, but there's no setup here. There was a 1-minute inversion. And again, when we create a 1-minute inversion, we close above the high that formed of the day, or the internal high, then likely we continue higher. And then normally what happens is we trade up into a PD array. Later in the day, we get a rejection to go lower. If you guys decide to leave the stream, I don't know how long I'm going to be streaming for, but this 1-minute fair value gap is a pretty strong PD array. If this fails, we are very likely to be going down to the 9:30 open. And then after 9:30 open, we have a data low here. So both of these are spots that I'm looking for as potential draws. But we'll have to see what happens on the daily chart, because we have this daily fair value gap. If we just reject it and we get a strong rejection, then we have lots of draws and liquidity. We have two sets of equal lows down here on the daily chart. So around that 21,100, 200 level, give or take. But those are obviously a ways away. But for now, obviously, we're still bullish on the day. There's no reason to be looking for shorts yet. If we can sweep some liquidity here and create another inversion, then that would be a nice setup to target this 15-minute fair value gap and that one standard deviation. But for me right now, I'm expecting consolidation and then probably a manipulation higher, then maybe distribution later in the day. We'll see. Okay, so we came super close to that 15-minute and are rejecting here. But again, I think all of this is just is consolidation. Anything you try and short and anything you try and long in this leg of price is going to get wrecked until some period of time. Maybe it's a macro time. I don't know what they're going to do with it. But what am I missing here? Hold on, guys. New week opening gap. New day opening gap. Boxes Asia. Next macros. Oh, I'm missing the macro times. Let me just copy this onto my NQ chart. Save this. Yeah, so the next macro time is at 10:50, so I'm guessing they're going to consolidate the market until 10:50. Anything you try and short, anything you try and long, you're going to get destroyed. That's my assumption here. Okay, so again, still just consolidation here. But again, the draws, if you really want to try a one-for-one scalp, try and get this entry when we get a red candle, and then you target the 15-minute fair value gap and that one standard deviation. Not recommended, but I'm just saying that that's probably going to happen. But not a setup, so nothing to take here. Okay, I want to see something. It says there's 21 people watching this on X. There's no way. Okay, so again, guys, consolidation, and then probably a manipulation higher, and then distribution later. Okay, almost at that 15-minute gap. If you want to try and long this one for one, you'd be my guess, but this is such a stupid trade. And then once this 15-minute gap hits and the that one standard deviation hits, okay, there's the 15-minute gap finally. And then potentially the one standard deviation, then I would honestly be done for the day, guys. That's all that you need. And almost there. Okay, so we basically almost touched that one standard deviation. Not quite, but almost. But that is going to be definitely it for me for the AM session. What I'm probably going to do, guys, I'll stay on until maybe the 1050 or 1150 macro to see if there's anything else that's A plus to the upside or the downside. But for now, we're going to sit and watch because you can see distribution, consolidation, potential manipulation here to continue down, but we'll see what happens. Looking good on X. Good, Edgardo. Glad. Are you on X, Edgardo, or are you on YouTube? So amazing how it touched almost basically my line perfectly. This is the one standard deviation of the Asia range. I would not be surprised if we get one more pump above it. Then maybe we get a 1050 macro short. We'll see. Oh, you're on YouTube? Okay, there's the one standard deviation, guys. Just like I said, that is pretty much the final TP of the day. There is, again, the 50-minute fair value gap has a high up here. So if you look at the fair value gap from this Wix candle to this Wix candle, we do have more of a PD array here. However, this could easily be the spot where we reject on the day and go lower. So I'm going to be super careful here. I have this data low marked. If we get something A plus in the next session, so in the 1050 macro time or even the 1150, potential shorts, but for now, nothing is A plus. And this is what we said, the daily gap, right? So what could potentially happen today, guys, too, is so there's a daily order block forming here. If we can get a daily close above this order block, we could potentially push higher above the daily high that formed here, and then maybe we get rejections another time. But we are super close to the all-time highs in the market. So do not be surprised if we get a manipulation down before getting the all-time highs. We could easily pump through all of this, don't get me wrong, but you have to be super careful. A lot of the times, if you look back, I think in 2018, 2021, or maybe 2018 and 2016, we came super close to the all-time highs, and then we rejected, and then we came back, filled some unfilled orders. There's a gap here on NQ, a new week opening gap at 20,300, and then continued higher later. So don't be surprised if we get a further sell-off after filling this gap, or maybe even closing above it. Just a warning, guys. Wow, my computer is lagging right now. How is the stream quality? Can you guys hear everything, see everything clear cut? I am going to mark this 15-minute high, and then there is another 15-minute fair value gap right here. So these could potentially be draws now, but again, guys, there's no setup here. So For those of you guys watching on X or on YouTube, how is the stream quality? Can you guys hear everything? Is it lagging at all? Or is it chill? Wow. Let's take a look at the rest of the market again quick. See if anything is performing. Wow. GameStop is down 19% today. Crazy. Crazy, crazy, crazy. And for those of you guys who don't know how my swing trades work, isn't it incredible? For those of you who maybe do, we traded and we took our full profits. If you don't believe me, go on X, go on YouTube, go anywhere on my page and you'll see where I added here and I sold here. If you go on my Discord, you can see that I added all my positions in this fair value gap. And we took all of our position off here. And pretty much the day or the week of that we trade into that monthly fair value gap, we get a Boeing crash and then we end up getting a huge down day. So interesting how that works. Oh my gosh. The New York Post made a post, how to buy PP coin, and is it a good investment? Crazy. I feel like this is the top on crypto. Let's look at Bitcoin real quick. One thing I will note on Bitcoin, guys, for those of you guys who are trading it or even long-term holders, this is normally not a good sign. So we got a daily inversion here. We closed below, swept liquidity. Now we came super close to buy side, and we're potentially inversing another daily gap. If this daily fair value gap closes below, we are probably going to go quite a bit lower on Bitcoin, probably to fill this weekly gap at 97,900. But I'm hoping that it doesn't, and we just keep pushing higher. But pay attention to this daily fair value gap right here. This is going to be a very important PD array. I'm going to label it as an IFEG for now, even though it's not. If the daily chart closes below 106,507, then you will probably see more downside on Bitcoin. This internal low will probably be swept, and we will likely fill all the way down to this 97,000 area. Okay, good. Amarjit says, yes, all good, you can see. Okay. Yeah, it says there's 32 people watching here, but nobody, I've never seen anybody, maybe one person comment on X, so I'm convinced it's bots, but it says 32 viewers are here. If you are watching this on X, type a message in the chat. I don't know if you can or not. I think you can, but... I do like this 1 minute gap for a short if we get it. There's not really anything on the 3 or the 5. But the thing is that, I mean, if you look at the daily chart, we are very bullish on the day. We haven't really swept major buy side. We did sweep this hourly high, but we're probably going to go higher here. We have, again, that 15-minute fair value gap right here, the high of it. So the market is very likely to drive up to that high, which is at 21,956.50. And then we have another 15-minute gap right above at 21,983. So I do still think the draw is higher, but again, there's no setup. This price action was really bad. The 1 minute inversion closed all the way up here, making it very difficult to enter, even though I did take this on a micro account, 1 micro on a funded. because I know that this setup often works. If you ever get a 1 minute inversion early in the day in a macro time, and we sweep the high of day with the inversion, oftentimes this is going to be continuation. So I targeted the hourly buy side here, slightly above it right here at 21,916, I believe. And that was my one trade of the day. Boom to boom, and that's it. But I did not advise that because it's not A+, so I did not call that out. But my objective here is to call out only the A+ setup so you guys actually learn. This is something that I took based on experience, just based on experience. That's all I can really say. I also took that on a new funded, so the balance on this account is only, I'm only up 156, and you can see that it was just one micro. I don't know if you guys can see that this is a funded account, but this is a new account, and the profit on this is only $79. It was a one micro trade, so for all the haters. Okay, so we're trading down into this 1 minute inversion. This, if you're bullish, guys, this should be used to go higher. We should not close below it. So we have as well a tiny 2 minute fair value gap, tiny 3 minute, more decent size 5 minute gap, but you want to see this be used to go higher if you want bullishness, obviously. I think what I'll do is I'll stay on until the end of this macro time. If anything A+ presents itself, I'll let you guys know. Otherwise, I'll call something in the Discord. I'll show you guys from yesterday. We had a pretty nice alert. Let me see here. See if you guys can see that. So there was a pretty nice 1 minute inversion, or 3 minute inversion that we called out yesterday, and it ended up being a free trade. I believe it got stopped out for break even, but I did let you guys know here that you are welcome to take partials. But if you guys are part of the community, the live alert section, again, this is not a reason for you guys to take a trade. It's all for educational purposes. But you'll get access to all my long-term ads, option selling, swing trades, and then my live alerts. Again, my objective with the community is not to give people trades. The objective is for you guys to learn, because I'm not going to be there for every setup. I'm not going to be there to help you manage risk. At the end of the day, the only person that's going to make money for you is you. You're the one that's clicking the button, not me. So my objective is to teach you, not to give you setups and spoon feed you, because at the end of the day, it's never going to make you profitable in the long run. Never. You guys have any stocks you want me to look at? Anything you're interested in? Because right now there's nothing happening. If you guys have any stocks you want me to analyze, you have any questions about the model, the inversion fair value gap, anything you guys have questions on, let me know. Do. Also, I will note this, guys. This is not an A plus setup by any means, but do you see this little tiny woman inversion here? We closed above it, and then it had a huge pump. I was waiting for this woman inversion to close above for my trade, and again, I took it with 1 micro on a funded. 1, that's it. But you can see that inversion fair value gaps do work. You have to pick the right one. This was not by any means A plus, but you can see it did deliver. If you would have longed right there, you could have taken your partials here and at that 1 standard deviation. Okay, so if this does inverse to the downside, I don't think this is A plus 100%. I think this should be used to go higher. But if you guys want to try something with decent RR, this is not terrible. Again, I don't think it's 100% A plus, but your first TP would have to be this internal low, and then your second TP would be probably within this fair value gap, so something here. And if you do still have runners, then your TP here would be the low right there, or even 930, whichever you prefer. Again, I don't think it's A plus. The reason being is because we still have the 15-minute fair value gap here that we need to fill in theory. And there's just not any major liquidity sweeps here. So the idea that this is just going to continue lower here, not a huge fan of that thesis. But we also have another 15-minute fair value gap above us. So I'd be very careful here shorting. Even if this does close below, I would move my stop to break even very quickly, maybe right here at this internal low or right before it. So that would be where I move my stop to break even. But yeah, I'm just saying this is not 100% A plus. So I like the bullish reaction here, but I need to see continuation, obviously, to that 15-minute high. There's no setup here, guys. There's nothing. There's no inversions. It's all consolidation. Nothing here is A+. Even though this high is probably likely to hit now, nothing here is A+. Oh, so you can chat on X. I just opened it up on my own X account just to make sure. Somebody on X who's watching, it says there's 30 plus viewers. Write something in the chat. I want to see that there's no bots in here. How do I see who's viewing it? Okay, so again, consolidation here, distribution potentially up to that 15-minute high, no setup whatsoever, but this, there we go. So there's a 15-minute gap. Where can this go from here? We do have another level at 21,976.25 that we could go to. So don't be surprised if we end up here. There's also a 15-minute fair value gap above us, so yeah. But again, there was no setup here. This is just kind of, this price action is very difficult to trade because they don't give you any types of drawdown or draws on liquidity. But yeah. They don't give you any draw on liquidity swept before creating an inversion. This 1 minute inversion is starting to look nice to me if we do get the inversion to the downside. Let me draw the magnet tool here. But we'll see what happens with it. Now we have the 15-minute fair value gap closed above. We have another PD array up here, which I think we'll head to. But yeah. So pay attention to that high. But again, there was just no setup here. Unfortunately, guys, some days you're going to have to watch the market go without you. And today was one of those days. If we do miraculously get a close below this 1 minute gap, I think this is going to be a pretty decent scalp. And then you could target this internal low, and then maybe this internal low. And then for your third TP, you could go lower, like target something in this fair value gap right here. But we'll see what happens with it. I'm still convinced this is probably going to go higher and rebalance this 15-minute right above us. But again, there was no reason to be bearish today. No reason whatsoever. Also, guys, if you're in the stream, make sure you like it. I don't know if you can like it on X, but like it on YouTube. It helps the algorithms a lot. Okay. Yeah, it's a buy day. Wait, is this K like KK? Like my boy K who's in the Discord? Or is it a different K? Nobody has any stocks they want me to look at. Nothing to analyze. Ticker symbols, futures charts, inverse for value gap questions, ICT questions, nothing. Kay, you're at work. Good to see you, Kay. Haven't heard from you in a while, brother, but I'm glad that you're good. Okay, so if this ends up closing below, guys, I don't think this is a bad short. I do think we are still headed up to this 15-minute gap, so it's tough to take this, but not a terrible inversion. I don't think it's going to work. I don't think it's going to even trade down into it or close below it, but we'll see. It's just one of those days where price action is bad. I'm looking on X. Some of the best traders that I follow, One of them took 2 losses in a row. I guess I'm the only guy that's green today. One of them didn't take any trades. One took a trade before New York session and profited on it. Yeah, definitely a tough day. All right, so there's a tap into the 1 minute gap. What about that 15 minute? Potential manipulation up into this 15-minute gap and then a potential short. That's what I'm possibly looking for, okay, if we get it. There is a pretty nice looking 1 minute inversion here, but the tough part is that we have a 2 minute as well. We have a 3 minute, a potential 5 minute forming, so I don't really love this to the downside yet. But I'd rather see it go up one more time than get a short setup from there. But this to me does kind of look like consolidation, manipulation, and potentially distribution. But we'll have to see. I'm thinking that they're trying to close above this daily fair value gap today. So we'll see how that works. But it's only 8 o'clock for me. 11 o'clock Eastern. So we'll see what happens here. But nothing I love. If the 2 and the 3 both close below, as well as the 1 minute, then these two levels are coming most likely. No equal lows. There's just internal lows. No equal lows at all. But yeah, this obviously looks like this low is coming now. Oh, I think we might have another set of... Oh, we do have a set of perfect equal highs right here. I will note these. Okay. So yeah, unfortunately with this inversion, you're going to have to wait for the 2 and the 3 minute to close below. So the 3 minute is right here. 2 minute is even lower, so you need to wait for both, really. If you want to wait for one instead of the other, you can, but it's higher risk. And then that would be the potential distribution leg to go lower and tag this low, this fair value gap, but nothing A plus yet, guys. Nothing at all. Also, this 4 hour gap, this 4 hour candle is going to be really important, but it only closes at 2, so we got a long time. But if we can close above this inversion, then that can also be what sends us higher. But yeah, this is very tough for me because we have a 15-minute fair value gap right above that we never tagged into. But this could also be the start of an intraday sell model to go down to this low. But very tough. Okay, so if the 3 minute closes below, guys, I mean, I'm not saying this is 100% A plus because we do have that 15-minute gap above us, but this is not terrible. I'd give this probably a 7 out of 10 if we get the close below on the 15 at the 15-minute mark. So I'm watching the 3 minute to see if the candle closes below. Maybe I'll try this with the funded. I think I might try this, guys. It looks pretty darn good, but we didn't get the closure below on the 2 or the 3, so I'm going to have to wait for the next 3 minute candle. But this doesn't look bad, I'm not going to lie. But we need to see the confirmation of the trade, which is a 3 minute close below. Okay, so we got just under, what, 2 minutes? If this closes below on the 2 minute, guys, this is going to be the trade entry. Stop to break even at this low, and you can target all, probably this fair value gap right here, honestly. If you want to try this on the 1 minute, be my guest, but I'd rather wait for the 3. There's also a very small 5 minute that you should ideally wait for, but I'm just going to wait for the 3. Oh, my goodness, guys. If only it closed here without sweeping the low. So I can't take this anymore, but if this closed here before this low got swept, I would have taken this. It's probably still going to go lower. I'm looking for this and this fair value gap, but I'm just going to skip out, unfortunately. I needed to see the close happen before this low got swept. That's unfortunate. But I still think these lows are going to come here. All this LRLR and then probably this 1 minute gap. But there ain't nothing I can do now. All right. I think I'm going to call it a day here, guys. I was looking for this 3 minute to close right here, not down here. The price action is just not behaving the way that I want it to today. So I'm going to call it here. If you guys have any questions, send me a DM, and I will catch you guys in the Discord. All right? Peace.